Hey, what's the deal, YouTube? It's your girl, Miss Honey, here for our last and final review for Power Book 2 Ghost Season 3. You guys, I am so excited that this season is over. These last 3 weeks with the leaked episodes, it has just been, I'm glad that the season is over. Not that the season one it wasn't entertaining. It was highly entertaining. But it's after a while, me and my left and right brain thinking, the logic of it all, it just starts to wear on me, and we're at this point. So I'm glad that we are at episode 10. We do have Force Power Book 4, I think it is. Force is going to be coming out, I think, in like October, late August, October, somewhere thereabout, which is fine. Let me have the rest of my summer. And then either at the end of this year or the beginning of next year, we're going to get Kanan, Raising Kanan, which is the leg of the franchise that I'm very excited about. I still really love that franchise, that leg of the franchise. So, yeah, let's get into this episode. Before we get started, though, I just want to thank everybody who's participated in commenting and liking and sharing and coming over to TSF Entertainment on Sundays at 6 p.m. to hear us really talk a lot more about the episodes and the franchise. Those guys are really intuitive about everything really surrounding this franchise, the Power franchise. And so they do a lot of research. They have a lot of connections, the photos, the pictures, things we don't get over here, really just add to the conversation. So you guys check us out on Sundays, 6 p.m. We will be on tonight. And I don't remember if we did P-Valley together, but P-Valley is kind of on an impromptu hiatus. They won't be back until they resolve some legal issues. So I don't know if we're going to have P-Valley anytime soon, but definitely TSF Entertainment will be back for Force and of course Raising Kanan. So you guys check us out. Thank you guys so much for coming over and participating in the conversation. Thank you to everyone who hits the thumbs up button, comments down below. Again, if you're new to my channel and you like the content that I bring over, this left brain, right brain thinking, you know what I'm saying, logical. Trying to make sense out of the nonsensical, please hit that subscription button. We'd love to have you guys. Let's get into this episode. Come on. Episode opens with all of our characters sort of looking at the man in the mirror, if you will. Effie's going into Gen Pop. They're really trying to put the pressure on her. They want her to be at this place where when they come to her and say, Lauren has said you did this thing, we can make this thing go away, but we need you to tell us all about Tariq and the Tejadas and all of this stuff. They want her to be easy pickings, but Effie is no wilting flower, but she does get to see herself in the reflection. I'm sure she's wondering, because I trusted others instead of myself, here I is. You know what I'm saying? Because I put others before me, here I is. Okay, we see where Lauren really looks like she's on vacation. This place where Jenny's got her, she can overlook the ocean and the beach or whatever else. And she's reflecting on her own life. You know what I'm saying? You really wasn't even with Tariq long enough to be trying to wear a wire against Tariq. You know what I'm saying, Lauren? You inserted yourself in even in a relationship that was beneath you. Cause he was cute. Anyway, she reflecting on her life. We see where Tariq riding out a sick note from Tasha. Essentially, when she mollywopped him over the head, somehow it ended up putting him in the hospital. Y'all know we left off episode 9 with Benson and Hedges telling him that Tasha was missing. I was like, why is she telling him that like he's responsible for getting Tasha back? You guys are responsible for Tasha. Essentially, she was supposed to be in WITSEC, which like I said, I don't know no guards in WITSEC that stand outside your door. Do they stay with you for life? Do they put agents on you for life? The guard out there, it's just, okay. But you looking at Tariq like you need to find your mama. You need to help us find your mama. Okay. How this address get out like it did, Tamika? You might want to go get that information pulled together. Okay. We see where Diana's on her way to get into somebody's business, and in a Freudian slip, she steps in a puddle and sees her reflection, which is so apropos because she's about as deep as a puddle, right? So for her to be seeing her reflection in a puddle, like, I was like, that's shady. That is super duper shady, right? We see where Drew is sulking in his sins. He's just become such an emotional, he's an emotional liability. I stand by that. And listen, not just a liability to Tejadas, not just the liability to this whole drug game, but a liability in his lifestyle. Like, I feel bad. I'm scared for any dude that gets involved with him because he's such an emotional liability. You get what I'm saying? He's slowly but surely becoming a little bit of a serial killer. Am I the only one that notices? Does anybody else notice that Drew has become essentially a psychotic, right? Like, essentially a psychotic. And it all stems from his rejection as a gay man from other gay men, or his perceived rejection. You know what I'm saying? Like, it makes me so sad for him, but at the same time, I'm like, he's a liability. He is an emotional liability. Kane is so lonely. He's so lonely. He really essentially put all of his emotional eggs in the Effie basket, right? Because your mama, loves you when she needs you, and she hates you when things don't go her way. She take it out on you verbally, right? You ain't really got no friends. Drew and Diana are besties, but who's your bestie, right? You ain't got no sidekick. I mean, he's lonely. He is lonely, and all he got is his guns and his two fists, you know what I'm saying, and his anger. Okay. Listen, Monet reflecting in the car window. Now she about to go see Noma. And have a conversation with Noma. And that whole situation was laughable. But we do get to see Tariq being released from the hospital, child. They done ran a line. They taking blood. All of these things from getting one little molly-whopping over the head. I just don't understand it. This dude has dodged bullets. He got hit upside the head slightly by his mama, child. Oh, with that glass jaw, he was like, oh, collapse. So he getting released from jail, and Braden is there, and he tells Braden, all of the things that they've got to worry about. Effie and Lauren, he's got to figure that out. This Noma piece, we've got to figure that out. My mom is missing. I gotta find her. That's my number one priority. And he asked Braden, hey, listen, do you have a gun? And Braden was like, do I have a gun? Ain't I a gangster? Of course I got a gun. It's hilarious. It is hilarious. Okay, it's like watching two kids play cops and robbers. It's funny. Tariq wants a gun because he's going to go and find out where his mom is. And I'm like, okay, now you've been using brains this whole season. Now you're going to try brawn. You're not the one for brawn. If we go back to episode 9, you were mollywop, toot sweet by Kane, right? Like, brawn is not your thing. But I guess that's why he needs the gun. We see where Monet goes to see Noma, and it's all very civil. Noma has a couple of slick things to say. Monet hits the ball back over the fence, right? She tells her she hopes that Noma isn't depending on Tariq, because Tariq is a liar and he can't be trusted, and Effie's in jail. And of course Noma looks at Obi, because like, Obi, why didn't I know? Why didn't you bring me in the loop about the Effie situation? And she quickly punishes Obi by cutting his face, which is supposed to be a permanent reminder that you don't withhold things from me, right? And it's also supposed to be a warning to Monet, but for some reason they've written Monet as this impenetrable enemy, this impenetrable villain. She's this formidable foe. How? I don't know. But she tells Noma, listen, we run the streets. I've gotten rid of the Russians. I've gotten rid of the Castillos. I've gotten rid of all the competition. It is me and me alone on this street, and we're going to get this money. You're not going to get it from Western Holdings. Okay, I don't know why she wasn't equally as offended by that news. You're not going to get it from Western Holdings. So yeah, you might as well put me in charge of all your drugs and everything, even though you barely know me. And Noma's like, yeah, you're in charge of drugs and all this stuff, but what about this $5 million ring? Okay, that obviously she's just carrying around in the front pocket of her jean jacket. Like, it's a $5 million ring. Why isn't this ring somewhere locked up? Like, it's so ridiculous. It's supposed to be this symbol of Mecca. Why do we keep bringing up Mecca? We bring Mecca up more than we bring up Ghost now. James St. Patrick. And people are always complaining about us bringing up James St. Patrick, but I wish people would complain more about us bringing Mecca up, because he was like a baby's fart in the wind. Just in terms of his longevity on the show and his impact, really, he was like a fart in the wind. So when she brings it up, Monet tells her, hey, I didn't love him. I didn't even really like him. He was my son's father, but so what? I'm really about this money and getting this money. And I'm about my family and taking care of my family. And Noma's like, you know what? I'm a hardcore drug dealer, and I cut people's hands off and slash their faces and all of that. But I can really relate to what you're saying, Monet, as a mom, as a wife, as a drug dealer. I can relate. Yeah. So you know what? I'm going to give you this whole empire to run as you see fit. Let's see what you do with it. Now, you have, Noma, you have traipsed all over this country. You have found Tariq in the smallest parts of New York, the tightest, most overcrowded places of New York. You go all the way to Italy to walk in a scene and drop a caper on him about your ex-husband, an arms dealer / drug dealer, who you need to get rid of. And you send him on a caper in Italy, an international caper. But you can't pull up on him in the hospital or just outside the dorm, or down at the lake where everybody meets at, you know what I'm saying, that bench overlooking the river. You can't pull up on him in any of those spots and say, hey, Tariq, what the heck is going on? Now, I took you off probation because I really trusted you, and you have sold these drugs. You have sold these guns. You have done everything that I've asked you to do to the 10th degree, right? But what's happening with people saying that you're the ops, that you work with the feds, right? You can't do that. You take a woman's word. First of all y'all took a white man's word that was written on paper, but a white man wrote it, so it must be true, huh? And you take Monet Tejada, which, if your intel is anything you like you said it was in the first of this season, you know that her husband is dead, right? You know that he was in prison for this long extended. Like, you should know a lot more about about Monet, enough to know that you can't really trust her. You certainly know Tariq better than you know Monet. And Monet, while we talking about Noma, we might as well bring you up in this same situation, because then you tell Tariq you couldn't trust nobody but him. You couldn't trust nobody but him. Tariq has basically been running your drug empire for you. Okay, he's really the spearhead. He's the connect, right? Okay, but you don't think that you need to go and talk to Tariq and say, hey, Tariq, you send Diana to find out if Tariq is a fed? Anyway, they're colleagues now. And we see where Tariq goes to see Kate. Basically, he's looking for Tommy to see if Tommy is there, and she tells him that he's not cut out for this life. This isn't what he should be doing. She doesn't want him fighting with Tommy. Woo 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 woo. And he said, no, I need to find my mom. Tommy's after my mom. I need to find my mom. And she was like, I can't help you, but I will tell you that somebody, some lady named Monique, and Tariq is like, Monet, and she was like, okay, came by and brought a letter. And Tariq says in this moment in episode 10, he says, dang, that letter had my mom's address in it. How Sway? How? So everybody in the world thinks that Tommy is dead except Sax, the Tejadas. He runs out of there. He runs out of there now, because now what he's learned is he thinks Monet is the one that gave his mama's address to Tommy. He never once says, how does Monet know that Uncle Tommy isn't dead? Never once says it. Never once says it out loud, right? Because we're not supposed to think about that. We see where after he goes to see Kate, the Rico sisters, like I said, their Effie is their best bet to get Tariq and the Tejadas. Okay, but first Lauren has to testify before a grand jury. We see where Lauren wants to know who killed Sax, and she says, was it Tariq? And Jenny just flat out lies and says yes. And then Blanca says, well, not exactly. Okay, Diana know to ask for a lawyer. Effie know to ask for a lawyer. But Lauren, I think one or both of her parents are lawyers. She don't think to ask for a lawyer. It's just whatever. Okay, they want her to just focus on testifying. And we see where Monet stands in for Noma at the staff meeting. Now, she done called everybody together there at the Trap Warehouse, and she tells them, I'm your new boss, I'm running this. Of course, Drew has an outburst, a mini temper tantrum that Kane has to calm him down from. Tariq is there, and he's like, what? Everybody's like, oh, okay, you're in charge now. And she was like, really, all of you guys should be dead, but your debt is what's keeping you alive, you know. And y'all gave my money to these white people, plus the money y'all owe Noma. Y'all, you know, basically you're behind the 8 ball. You guys need to get to work and get these drugs sold and get these guns sold and make good on your debt. Now, I would take me forever to pay my debt off, because that's the only thing keeping me alive. I just don't think I would give a darn after somebody told me that. And then after she says that, no questions, she wants to talk to Tariq out back. Now, she got Obi walking next to her. You know, that's supposed to be her security. And Obi's there with her. She goes out back to talk to Tariq, and she pulls a gun on him, and she tells him, asks him if he is working with the feds. You know what I'm saying? He told the kids, no, she didn't ask him about the feds. She said, did you tell my kids about me killing Lorenzo? And he was like, what? No, I didn't do that. And she was like, well, you're the only one that knew that woo, 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 woo. And he was like, yeah, did you tell Tommy where my mama is? And she was like, what are you talking about? I have no idea what you're talking about. So you guys don't think you need to settle down for a second and just put your heads together and just talk for a minute? Just for a second. She tells him, look, you better straighten up and fly right. You know what I'm saying? I got a bullet with your name on it. And she walks off, and he's gonna pull a gun and he's gonna kill her. But Obi stops him and tells him, listen, you better be careful. As long as she's alive, you're gonna be alive. She has the full authority of Noma, and this is what Noma did to my face. You know, one side of the face or the other, I don't know. He's pointing to one side, but it don't matter. And he tells Tariq he appreciates the green cards and everything, and he's gonna look out for him. But listen, you on your own. You got to get this straight. Like, don't be no fool. Okay. We see where after all of this happens, we see where Monet calls after Diana and, basically poo-pooing her feelings, telling her to get over herself. They got work to do. They got business to handle. And she need her to call her back right away. I was like, oh. We see where Tariq is headed off by Tommy after he meets with Monet. Tommy sort of pulls in front of him and says, follow me, don't do anything stupid. And then they go off to the side and sort of talk about everything, where we see in the flashbacks what happened after Tariq got knocked out, okay, at the Whitsick house. Basically, Tommy and Tasha made up, and they also nursed on Tariq, okay? The police came and Tommy went out back and then Tasha left, right? I don't know why she just ran off, you know what I mean? Her daughter is there. She gives her daughter to Big Mama. It's just silly. It's just silly. She runs off and she's somewhere wandering the streets to do what? Exactly. Anyway, we're supposed to, anyway, they made up. Tommy tells him, you can't run this drug life in the back of a classroom. Your dad tried that too. This is what he tells Tariq. And you have to decide if you're going to be a gangster, you got to be all in with this gangster stuff. But then tells him, yeah, you got to be all in with this gangster stuff, but you're on your own. Like, I can't help you with this war against the Tejadas. And you're insisting on starting a war with the Tejadas, then you're on your own. I can't help you. I'm already dead in New York. No, you're not. Everyone knows you're alive, Tommy. I mean, all they have to do is follow Kate with all unpacking moving boxes in her house to Chicago, and everyone knows where you are. Like, it's no big secret. You could technically you could help Tariq, right? You sending him off to be a gangster instead of encouraging him to get his education and get the heck out of this lifestyle, but you don't want it. Like, it's supposed to be a touching moment. It is not for me, and who cares? Okay. So after they have that whole conversation, we see where Tate basically wins. After he did the whole thing with Weston, he basically wins his Senate race, and he's so excited. He obviously credits his voters, his constituents, but more importantly, Harper. If it wasn't for Harper standing behind him and using her resources to help him to undercut Weston, he never would have been able to do it. And he gets down on one knee and he asks her to marry him. And it's supposed to be this super romantic moment, but because we know that Tate is a Slytherin, because we know that he's covered in a light film of slime, it doesn't have the same impact that I think it was meant to have. This really, really love struck moment. It's nonsensical, which is why I think they spliced in some scenes from original Tate. Like, I think they started filming Tate, which was supposed to be another branch of the Power franchise, and they decided to scrap the whole thing. I think they took some of those scenes and spliced it into this season, because who cares about Tate and Harper? Who cares, really? Outside the classroom, why are we even talking about Harper? It doesn't even make any sense. Anywho, he asks her to marry him, and she says, yes, of course I'll marry you. And we get to see later on when she ear hustles at his celebration event. So she hears him talking to Davis and basically learns, everything that he did, kinda, and that Davis is telling him that he's going to expose him if he doesn't get the charges against Diana dropped. Random. Get the charges against Diana dropped, and get them off of his neck, Davis's neck, because he got seen passing his client a note. Is it not a crime? It's not a crime. It's not a crime for him to pass his client a note. But I need you to get the Rico sisters off of me. And Tate was like, yeah, I can make all of this happen. I can do magic. Everyone knows that. But you're going to have to pay me. You're going to have to give me money for it, right? Like, I'm going to get paid. And it pisses Harper off. And when she gets ready to walk off and collect her things and get the heck on, she realizes there's a reporter there and she wants to talk about their love story. And Harper gives this dramatic response. Basically, I don't know him. I don't want to know him. He could take this ring and shove it. Okay. Silly. We see where Drew, Diana, and Kane really kind of fight about Monet, right? The siblings are now all talking together. And this was a really good moment, I think, for Kane. Because, like I said, he's a lonely soul. And he can see that... one, that they're close. He's always known that, but also that they're kind of delusional. He was like, you guys need to wake up. We're drug dealers. Like, daddies get killed, right? And she's like, no, it's Monet that's got us fighting like this. It's Monet that's got us separate, which she's not wrong about all of that. And he tells her, listen, we got to get this drug money. We got to stick together. And this is the drug gang. Diana, you're not some cheerleader, some debutante. And Drew, you're never ever going to be a basketball housewife. So, I mean, right? Get it together. It stings. It's true, though. He's right. He could have also had some conversations about himself, and how he lets his mom emasculate him. Okay, and push him deeper into the streets. The fact that she doesn't want them to be anything or to do anything beyond selling drugs, when she knows what it led to with Zeke, with Lolo, the Castillo, right? Like, you don't really want your kids to be out of the game at all. And Kane is kind of co-signing that mentality because he's a mama's boy. All he wants really is his mama's love. So it's a good conversation between the three of them. And it's in this moment that Diana tells Drew that they're on their own, that they gotta out-caper the caperers. And Drew is like, yeah, they'll never see us coming. I was like, chill. He is slowly but surely turning into a serial killer. Okay, we see where the Westons are squabbling amongst themselves about whether to go on vacation. Like, if we see one more scene with them in this boring library-esque room, like, it's just ridiculous. And why is your dad always wearing a suit for no reason? It's so silly. The costuming, it just gets on my nerves. Monet and Kane basically run up on the Westons and steal some random things from their house as a down payment for the money that they owe them, and tell them that they'll be back to get the rest of their money. But basically, they're going to collect, if they got to take it out of their hide, they're going to collect their money. And the Westons sort of blame it all on Braden, because if he hadn't gotten away from these people, and they're like, you guys are, and Braden's like, you're just as scuzzy as those people that you're talking about. You guys are unbelievable. We see where Monet questions Kane about Drew and Diana, and he tells her, listen, I can't pull them on board. You're gonna have to work your magic, basically run game on your own children. And she tells him that, what about this Effie person? It seems like you're kind of pussy whipped over Effie. And it kind of hurts his feelings a little bit, but he doesn't balk back at her. He never balks back at her. And to me, this would have been a better avenue to go down as it pertains to Tejada's sort of falling apart as a family. I would love to have seen them release the dragon, release the Kraken, which is Kane, onto Monet. That would have been a much better storyline, in my opinion. But he never balks back at Monet. And she decides to handle Effie herself. Back on the in Gen Pop, Effie's there. That she's got a guard that's taken to her cell, and she's a jerk. She's a butthole, and she puts Effie in jail. Effie's got a cell phone. That's not a big deal. I don't know if it's thanks to Monet or if it's the guard, or if the guard's working for Monet. Like, I don't know. But they let some girl in there, which Effie instantly mollywops, and they pull Effie out of there kicking and screaming. Not because she got a cell phone, no, because she's fighting with another inmate, and the guard is like, oh, okay, you stronger than I thought you were. I was just like, this is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. But I do love Effie in this moment. I love that we keep seeing Effie in this sort of downtrodden way. Like, Effie really is the only character we see some true reflection from. The young lady that plays Effie, I think, did a brilliant job this season. She's come a long way as a character, and I'm glad that we're going to have her for season 4. All right. So we see where Davis warns Tariq not to worry about Monet, and he says, 2 people have told you, your lawyer and your drug dealing uncle. Nobody who I'd like, raise your hand if you thought Tommy was dead. Who is it? It's just the police that thinks Tommy's dead, the DA office that thinks Tommy's dead. Like, everybody else knows that was a Two people have warned you not to go after Monet. Okay, I'm gonna need you to listen. And he says, what about, Western Holdings, and everything that went on down there, and Tate. This is where David says he'll handle Tate, and then he goes and he has this conversation that Harper overheard. We see where they both agree that a caper is better than just going off and killing someone. Tariq goes to see Effie, and it is a crazy conversation. I was super proud of Effie in this moment, and she really thinks that it was Tariq that had her attacked in jail. I was like, and he's like, I have no idea what you're talking about. And he tells her that she needs to sit tight for 5 days and not talk, because if they don't have anything more on her within 5 days, they have to let her go. They have to let her out of there. And he wants the picture of Noma's daughter. And if he tells him, listen, I already found Noma's daughter. I know where Noma's daughter lives. I know what she does. I know her name. I know all of these things, right? And he was like, really, you did? You found all this out? And she was like, yeah, but I'm not giving you duck until you get me out of here, period. I was like, okay, Effie, you need to find a way to parlay this. You need to find a way to parlay this. Quit talking to Tariq and quit looking for Tariq to wake up and say, I was so wrong about you, Effie. You are the true love of my life. It's not going to happen, Effie. It's not. We see where Tariq runs the scheme by Braden, and Kane. He says, this is what we're going to have to do. We're going to have to do the same thing that Noma did to us. We're going to take pictures of Lauren's mama and daddy, because they in town. We're going to take pictures of it, and then we're going to show her the pictures, and we're going to say, hey, nothing will happen to your something's going to happen to your parents if you testify. Basically, a threat is still a threat. But what does Braden and Kane do? Braden and Kane go and mollywop the mama and daddy and tie them up and take a video, child. Kane say, I do not listen to this ninja. When are you gonna get this through your head? Tariq don't run Jack over here. Not over here. It was a good moment. Okay, so like I say, he sent Mutt in jail. He said Mutt and Jeff to do the task, and then he calls Lauren and he tells Lauren, meet me over here. And she was like, why should I trust you? Just meet me over here and you'll see, and I'll show you, and woo 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 woo. And then she goes and gets a pair of craft scissors to take with her to a dark park to meet somebody she clearly doesn't trust. Okay, all right. We see where in the park, the whole situation just falls apart. She's like, really, Tariq? Really? This is what you do? This is who you are? Everyone's right about you. Everything bad that happens to everybody in the whole entire world falls at your feet, Tariq. And he is like, listen, Tariq. Don't you see by now this girl's never going to like you like that? She don't trust you like that. And for you to show this girl her mama and daddy, mollywopped and tied up, it was not gonna ever help you, right? That wasn't his original plan. But again, a threat is a threat, right? A threat is a threat. Like, even for you to threaten with the pictures of them walking into a convenience store or something, that's still a threat. It's still a threat. Kane says, my word is my bond. If you go in there and you don't testify, you know what I'm saying, you throw this whole case off, my word is my bond, I'll let your parents go. So we see where Brayden goes and talks to Kiki. She's going back home to Ohio or somewhere, and she catching a coach. I was like, girl, you came from riding in heliocopters to the heliopad and flying on private planes. You ain't got no money put away. You got to catch a Greyhound back home. You done slept with all these folks and did all these crimes, and you ain't got Nathan to show for it. Girl, I don't know why you standing around talking to Brayden and you ain't got more shame. You should have already left. You really should have left when Brayden let y'all know that he found out about the Ponzi scheme. But I digress. We see where Lauren gives Jenny an ultimatum. Basically, let me talk to Effie. I'm not testifying until I talk to Effie first, because I got a scheme I can run on Effie. And she ain't running no scheme on Effie. She just want Effie to look in Effie's face in a safe space and tell Effie, you tried to kill me over a dude, and that dude really want me. How you feel? And F is like, what are you talking about? That was self-preservation. What I did to you was to look out for me and my money, me and my bag. It don't have nothing to do with you being with Tariq. I don't know if that was 100% true, but at the same time, Effie was like, this is life. This is grown up. This is the game, right? Like, what do you think? You think you're going to be able to be with Tariq? Like, really? No one can be with Tariq except for Tasha. Tasha, the only woman he won't. Okay. And, basically, that was that conversation. We see where Lauren goes before the grand jury, and basically she blames the whole fiasco on Jenny, which we knew she was gonna do, and which it was all Jenny's fault. It was all Jenny's doing, right? Everything was Jenny's doing. And she sinks Jenny and the Rico sisters. Okay, Lauren ignores a call from Tariq and heads off to Martha's Vineyards with her parents. Okay, basically she's like, I got out of the situation, me and my parents safe, now we're leaving and going to have brunch in Martha's Vineyard. Goodbye, Lauren. Good riddance. We see where Effie is released from jail, and she shares the Noma daughter tea with Tariq, and she asks Tariq, this makes us even. Basically, let me come back to work. I need to get money. You know what I'm trying to do in school. I need to get this money up, right? And he was like, I can never really trust you again. So I don't know how I'm supposed to work with you. And she was like, really? After everything we've been through, like everything that I've done, all the good, you're going to just take this one incident? And he is just like, that's what it is. My penis don't get hard for you no more. Y'all know how it is. A man could do you wrong over and over and over again, year after year after year. You do one thing one thing, baby, and you are trash and a whore for the rest of your life. Effie, welcome to the Thunderdome. Welcome to the Thunderdome. That's what it is. Huh? That's what it is. Effie, he said, get in the car, let me take you back to the city. And she was like, that's all right. And he was like, where are you going? What do you mean? You're walking? And she was like, yeah, I think I'm going to find my own way from here. How good. Eureka. Yeah. Ding, ding, ding. Okay. We see where Tariq talks to Braden and he tells him about the Noma caper. This is what we're going to do. We're going to take the Noma, find a way to get the Noma daughter picture and put the squeeze on Noma, like she put the squeeze on me, like we put the squeeze on Lauren. This is what we're going to do, and we're going to have her leave us alone for the rest. And Braden is like, no. And Tariq was like, I'm sorry, excuse me. And Braden was like, no, thank you. I passed. I'm out. And Tariq was like, how you gonna be out? He was like, look, I don't want to do this. Okay? My uncle was one thing. He was an effing coward, right? Somehow they don't have me on video looking over the side of the building, and they don't have you on video at the foot of the building when my uncle fell. We've gotten away with that. I don't want to do anything else. Essentially, I don't want to become you. I don't want to become a bad guy. You have been a bad guy since season 2. Since season 1. Since original Power. It showed. Right. Yeah. Okay. All right. So, Tariq is flabbergasted. We see where Diana goes to see Tariq and basically runs her pitch about her mom. Her mom won't let her get out. She, Monet is on a tear. Who's next? Who's she gonna kill next? I need you to help me get rid of my mom, but we only have one chance. This is what we're gonna do. She's been calling for me to have lunch with her. I'm gonna go pick her up and take her to lunch, and then you're gonna shoot through the front window and kill my mom and drive off, and I'm gonna say there was a shooter and I didn't see it. And Tariq was like, brilliant. How could it go wrong? And she was like, exactly. Okay, lickety split, just like that. They're running a caper. But before they could run the caper, it kind of goes south. She and her mom get in the car. Diana is driving. Monet decides before they pull off, she's going to give her this heartfelt moment like she gave Evelyn. Basically, I was raised a certain type of way, and I got with a dude early on, and they were into certain lifestyle. That lifestyle didn't afford me the luxury of having emotions, of being soft, and I had to raise you kids the same way because I didn't want you guys to be out here in this world with everything that we were doing, and you guys were soft and unprepared, and were basically going to be victims, right? And Diana, for some reason, accepts that bullshit, even though she did a lot to protect Zeke, right? She did a lot to protect Zeke, to make sure Zeke was okay. But Diana buys it, and at the same time, someone pulls up, not Tariq, someone else in a van or a truck, and basically shoots at Monet and Diana. They hit Monet twice, right? Diana says that Monet dived to protect her. I was like, maybe you just in the way on her way to the floor. I don't know. I don't see it. Okay. And Tariq notices that the person in the car is his mother. Why? Why would it be Tasha? Why would it be Tasha? And I know y'all gonna tell me Tasha found out about Monet giving the because somebody must have told her. Where? Okay. All right. So somehow Tasha calls Tariq and they meet down at the river and they talk about what's going on. Monet's in the hospital. They got her in ICU, right? Because she been hit twice. And basically Kane want to know who it was, because Kane bust shots out after the truck, but he didn't see who it was. And when he didn't see Tariq across the street waiting to shoot Monet. He didn't see none of that. So he asked Diana, what happened? Who was it? Did you see him? And she said it was Tariq. It was Tariq. Right? Later on, when she talking to Drew, she was like, it wasn't Tariq, it was somebody else, but I stuck with the Tariq plan. And Drew is like, you need to stick to the Tariq plan. Okay, we worked this thing out intricately. Now, it wasn't Monet that went to Kate's house to give a note from the white man. It was Diana playing Monet. Diana puts a wig on. This her and Drew scheme. Puts a wig on and goes to Tommy's mother's house, dead Tommy's mother house, and pass the note that has the address to his mama's WITSEC office. House. Okay. I mean, if you close one eye and tilt your head to the side, it still don't make sense. It doesn't make sense. It does not make sense. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense, you guys. It's silly. It's silly. Tariq talks to Tasha and tells Tasha that basically he lost the money in the Western Holding scheme, and she says, I'm here to protect you. That's why I tried to kill Monet, to protect you. I just don't know how she knows all of this. It's not like she's talking to Tariq. Her and Tariq were in the house like a few moments before Tommy busts in with the gun. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just, it's ridiculous. So she says you got only one choice, and you've only, just like Diana, you only have one time to make it count. You know, and you really, you know, you got to use all your brains and all your scheming and everything to make this one last shot count, to take Noma out, to get yourself from under this. I don't want you to end up like your dad. Silly. It's just silly. You guys, listen, down at the precinct, we see where Angela, sister, I think her name is Paolo. Anyway, Angela from the original Power series, Ghost, One True Love, comes in, and the person that's helping the Rico sisters is Julian, Angela's nephew, Paolo's son. And he got a letter from Saks. You get what I'm saying? And like I said, letter from a white man, got everybody, nobody's doing any investigation. Everybody's just like, this is what was handwritten in this letter from this guy who was no account. And I'm just, anyway, it's a little disk drive, USB drive, right? And he just looking at it. We don't see him put it in the computer. We don't see him learn any information. We probably won't know more about what's on that disk drive until season 4. But listen, okay, let me just say this. Saks had all the information, right? He knew everything about everyone. Why was he acting like he needed Jenny? He needed Jenny's help with anything. Why was the threat that Jenny made towards him important to him when he had all of the secrets? He had all of the information, not only to keep himself free or from being prosecuted, to give himself full immunity. Okay, he knows where all, it's just silly. Tariq goes to meet Noma in the trap warehouse, and Tariq offers his soul to Noma. Basically, I will be your new Obi. I will. You can prune and shape and form me to be your best drug dealer ever, drug arms dealer ever. I want to learn everything from you. I want to be all in. And she's like, oh, that's really, really interesting. What about Monet getting shot, Tariq? And Tariq was like, that wasn't me. And she was like, yeah, that's not what I hear. And then we see where Kane, Drew, Diana, they all there to disagree. Yes, you did it. And he was like, Diana, but that was you and I scheme. And she was like, it was you, Tariq. It was you. Okay, so you're on the outs with the Tejadas. Everybody. Drew is like, I'm gonna rip you to shreds. I'm gonna tear you apart. And Kane is like, yeah, this is what we did. Instead of just coming at you head on, we just all decided we gonna come against you with Noma. And when he realizes that, he says her daughter's name, Noma's daughter's name, and Noma's like, what? And he was like, yeah, he says the name again. That's your daughter. And if you don't want anything to happen to her, what you're gonna do is you're gonna let me get out of this drug game, and you're gonna go on about your business. And she was like, what? Effie steps out of the shadows. Okay, it is probably the most brilliant moment of this episode, if not this season, right? Effie says, hey, I had to look out for me because you looking out for only you. All right, I gave her the information. I gave her the heads up, right, in exchange for my own financial gain, right? And Noma tells him, I've moved my daughter. She's not there anymore, right? You don't have that to threaten me with anymore. At this moment, guns come out. But Braden, thanks to Obi, Braden comes in shooting. And he and Tariq are able to escape the warehouse and escape Noma and escape the Tejadas. And we don't know if somebody in the warehouse was shot and killed. We don't know because the episode goes off with Braden and Tariq driving into the sunset, agreeing that they've got to go harder now because it is all out war with Noma and the Tejadas. They've got to figure out a plan. First of all, I don't know if y'all think y'all gonna be able to just walk around the city with your backpacks on your back, staying in dorms that are never locked and all these types of things. When you're at war, you got to go underground. So season 4 should be interesting. Will it make sense? Probably not, but it should be interesting. You guys tell me what you thought of this episode. What did you guys think of this season? I would love to hear it. Put it down below. If you get the opportunity to meet us over at 6 o'clock on TSF Entertainment, please feel free to do so. Otherwise, drop your comments down below. Until next time, honeybees. Mwah, mwah, mwah. I holla.